Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. This is Kathy, and I'm going to share with you some information about how to detox your data. Basically, that means to clean up your data and help keep your information safe and secure. Um, the first thing is I'm going to talk about the digital privacy, security, and your well-being. Control your data and increase your online privacy. Some simple tips to secure data further, and then digital well-being as far as use of devices and your well-being as the amount of time that you use on the device. So one of the first things I want to talk about is your mobile device. And over time, digital patterns kind of emerge as far as your habits, your movements, your relationships, preferences, secrets revealed, those type of things through your usage. And then we have businesses and data brokers out there who take that information, analyze your information, and then they profit from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some practical steps to control your data traces across the internet, and I'm going to start with mobile devices. So when you first get a device and you set it up, a lot of times you'll put your name to it. Like, for example, I have on there Kathy's iPhone. So when I got my phone, I typed in my name so that I knew that device belonged to me and it was my phone. Um, that in itself, there's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted to share with you how that can be visible to other people. And a lot of these things are just suggestions for you. You can either take it or leave it, but I just want to put it out there, the information that you're sharing. So, a suggestion is to change your device name to something else besides your actual name, because if you're on a public Wi-Fi network or you use Bluetooth, when you go in somewhere and you connect to those things, it's going to come up and say Kathy's iPhone. So it's visible to anybody else that is on that network. So you really wouldn't announce your name if you go into an airport and say, hey, everybody, Kathy's here. You wouldn't do that. But by having your name attached to your device, essentially you're doing that over the Wi-Fi network. And you can change your name to something less personally identifying so that you don't really have that issue thrown out there. One of the first ways that you can do this is if you have an Android device. I put on the left-hand side here, these are the steps that you can use with an Android device to be able to change your name to something else that's less identifying. There's a lot of steps here. I'll leave this up for a few minutes in case you're watching and wondering how to do it. The one on the right is to change your name on an iPhone, and there's only 4 steps with that, so that kind of makes it nice and easy for you to change. And then basically when you connect to the Wi-Fi wherever you are next time, it will come up with the name that you chose that's less identifying to you, and it can be whatever you want, but at least I wanted to put this out there so you are aware that that happens when you are on a public Wi-Fi. Another thing to help detox your data a little bit is to clear your location footprints. Now, it seems like your location data are just a few bits of information, but when they're put all together, it can give a lot of important details about you, like where you live, where you work, where you like to go and hang out with people. And these types of details are very highly sought after by data brokers. So there are apps that you absolutely have to have turned on to be able to use them, like the maps and those kind of things, and that's fine. But there is the option of being able to turn off certain location services of apps that you don't really need the location service on, like for taking pictures or there's playing a game or something like that. And again, all of these things are up to you, what you want to share and what you do not want to share. But check your app permissions to see what you're sharing with, what data you're sharing as far as your location. As far as pictures go, you when you have that turned on, you can even share your location services as far as clear down to the GPS coordinates, and someone could track you that way. So what I have next is I am going to show you the steps to turn those off. So if you have an Android device, you'll go to the settings, apps, and then manage location per app basis. And again, you can base these on apps. So some things I might have only turn on when using. There are apps that it's absolutely necessary to have them on to have accurate information. I'm not saying turn it off altogether. I'm just saying be careful with the location settings that you have set up for your app. So as you can see here, I have it for the Android, and I have it the instruction for the settings for your iPhone here. So if I would suggest go into there, check the settings, just see what kind of privacy settings you have set up for each app individually. The next thing is I want to show you how to clean up your apps a little bit, because sometimes you may have apps that you downloaded a long time ago and you used them all the time. It might be just social media, games, weather, a lot of things like that that you maybe you don't use or you do use, but those type of apps, they gather a lot of information. Getting rid of those random apps on your phone that you never use can be a great way to detox your digital self, because cleaning up your apps will help reduce data use and sharing information, even if you're not using them. Another thing it might help do is free up some space on your device, decrease your data use. Maybe they're using data that you didn't realize, and then it can even increase your battery life. And then the overall performance of your device might work better. So I have also included here the instructions for each type of device. On the left, you see the Android. These are the steps that you can go through to uninstall an app. And then on the right, you'll see the steps for an iPhone. They just press down on the app until it wiggles, and then you can just delete it off there. So check your device and check the apps that you use, check the apps that you don't use, and see if there's some things you could get rid of that might help you as far as cleaning up space and then getting rid of some of the extra data that you're not using. The next thing is I want to talk a little bit more about computers and mobile devices, since we went through the information on a phone. So with a computer, it's important to have a screen lock on, especially if it's something that if you have it setting around somewhere other people have access to. If it's just you at home by yourself, maybe not so much. But if you lose it or leave it somewhere, if you have that lock on there, people will not have access to your device then. Nowadays, some of the newer devices, they will use a password, a pattern, a fingerprint, or your Face ID to actually unlock it. And having those things set up and put on it will make it safer for you as far as keeping your device safe. Having any kind of lock on it gives you more protection than not having any lock at all. And using a strong password is important on any type of account on your device. Make sure that you have letters, numbers, and special characters as part of it, and make sure that it's not sequential, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or your name. Don't include that in the password because it's so easy for people to guess and use. Another important thing is make sure your password is a minimum of 8 characters long. And these are for online accounts or any kind of online account you use, not just for like a screen lock or something like that. But this is for internet safety. And try to make every website that you use or account online that you have, that the password is unique to that site. And try not to include any logical patterns to guess. Another important thing that is out there now, a lot of places are really pushing for it, and it is a 2-factor authentication. A lot of sites are really making that available now, so that if you need to either recover your account or you log on a different device, it will send a text or an email to what you have provided to that account, so that they can make sure that it's actually you. And then that's a good thing to have to help keep you safe. Another thing is it's important to protect your virtual values. So, where are you storing your most valuable personal data, and how are you protecting it? Do you just save it in your browser? What do you do with all that information? It's important to check your computer, search it for information in your email or other accounts. Delete scans of your ID, your bank details, health insurance information. Do a spot check every once in a while just to see if you have that information and see where it is stored. The other thing is you can deep clean your computer or your device on a yearly basis. Basically, take the stuff on there, archive it, the information in your email, your social media accounts, or download the information to your computer just to get it off there and kind of start fresh. But yet you still have the information kept where you can go back later and get it. Digital well-being is also an important thing to remember and think about when using technology. I think sometimes people get working on their device and then they realize, oh, 2-3 hours have gone by. Sometimes it's important to have that balance to be able to not use as much time on your device and actually be present in the moment rather than being on a device or a computer. It's important to stay media savvy also, as far as learning to spot information that is misleading or trying to trick you into giving out more personal information than you thought or intended. Sometimes these are really hard to spot as far as knowing whether it's legitimate or not. They're very tricky in getting you to give information out, even if you think that, I know that that's a safe site or whatever. You might be tricked into giving information out that you didn't want to. So here are 3 questions that you can ask. The first one is check to see where the website is actually from. Does that look legitimate to you? Who wrote the article or the information, and when was it written? Is this current information? Is this information from 20 years ago? Check that out as far as that goes to see what does the whole article say beyond the headline. Sometimes they put these great headlines out there, and then you read the article and you're like, that can't be true. And then what sources are they referring to? So are the sources legitimate sources, or are they from a source that you have no idea what it is or where it came from? So there are a lot of people out there trying to be tricky to mislead you and give you information. If it's outrageous or too good to be true, more than likely it is not correct information or it's fake news. So just be careful when you're looking at some of these things to stay media savvy. So I hope that the information that I shared with you today is a way that you can detox your data just a little bit and help keep you safer on the internet or doing whatever you like to do through technology. All right, everybody, stay safe, and I will see you next week. Thanks.